online church, real church? I think it might be helpful to distinguish between the church, which is every true believer, and the way that the church interacts, which is what the question is referring to. We could rephrase the question to say, what is the difference between meeting together and watching the St. Peter's stream? The St. Peter's stream and other elements like it give us so much to be thankful for in times like this especially. We're able to hear the word taught, testimonies of our fellow brothers and sisters, sing songs, and have a general sense of unity in watching the same content as our local church community. This is good. The wonderful thing about being part of the church is that we will not cease to be the church and to display God's wisdom according to Ephesians 3 verse 10. However, there are many things which we cannot simply do by watching the St. Peter's stream. And because those things are put out of our reach, I would answer that there's a huge difference between meeting together and watching St. Peter's stream. Online church is not real church.
When it's safe and realistic for the church to meet again, why should we be motivated to meet together instead of continuing to watch online?
I think we should be motivated by the prospect of being able to do those things that have been put out of our reach. From what we read in the Bible, there are consistent themes that to be with other Christians, to actually be with them, is highly beneficial for all members of the true church. For the true church to gather together and to do church strengthens the individuals of the church in their identity in Christ. It's a means by which the church enjoys what God has provided for us to enjoy. Now, broadly speaking, we often see when a New Testament author is unable to be present with his audience that he's writing to, he expresses sadness over it and affirms that it would be better if they could be together in person. He expresses that it would be more beneficial for the church if they could be together, but circumstances beyond their control prevent it for the time being. Sound familiar? More specifically, however, in Hebrews chapter 10, the author explains how Jesus' death on the cross paid the ultimate price for the sins of his people. And this opened a new way, the only true way, for us to relate to God without the need for sacrifices. Now, on the tail end of that, the author urges believers reading the letter to consider how to stir one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. So right off the back of the very reason why we have church, what Jesus' death accomplished, we have these one another clauses. Stir one another on to love and good works. Encourage one another. And there are about 50 more one another clauses in the New Testament. From Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24 to 25, it's explicitly clear that to be faithful to these commands, there needs to be a meeting with one another. Meeting our fellow brothers does good to members of the church. It means that we can be stirred up to love and to do good to others and be encouraged in our hope. So why wouldn't we want to meet together, to enjoy these things? It is these things that are put somewhat out of our reach that should motivate us to come back to church rather than continuing online. To some extent, we are able to stir one another to love and good works and to encourage one another via the stream, Zoom fellowship groups, or phone calls, but it's very limited. It's like having a WhatsApp call with a friend versus having coffee with a friend. The two don't compare, but the WhatsApp call is far better than no contact at all. Further, the reason the Hebrews text is so helpful is that in chapter 13, verse 7, it's made very clear that the author is not only talking to church leaders when he says, let us consider how to stir one another to love and good deeds. No ways. This letter is for all individual members of the church. It's not limited to Sunday gatherings either. The one another commands are for the whole church to obey and for the whole church's enjoyment throughout the week. I think that we have to remind ourselves of the beauty of each one of us participating in building one another up, especially under the current circumstances.
But aren't we breaking the do not neglect to meet together command from Hebrews 10:25?
Willing neglect is not what we're doing here. Forsaking to meet together is not what we're doing here. We are unable to meet because we will be endangering each other and our surrounding community. Like the New Testament authors who regret not being able to be in person with their brothers and sisters, we regret it. Like they wrote letters instead, we watch our stream instead. But when the opportunity arises again, we will be back to meeting in person.
What can we do now as the church under these current circumstances to prepare for when we do meet again?
Keep fit. By that I mean, don't let this lockdown or separation knock us out of rhythms of loving our brothers and sisters according to passages like Hebrews 10, verse 24 to 25. If you're part of a fellowship group that meets on Zoom, then be committed to it. Consider how you can help your brothers and sisters love Jesus Christ and others more and more. Is it a phone call? Pick up the phone. Is it sharing a Bible passage for encouragement? Then send the verse. Keep fit so that we won't be out of shape when we meet together again. And I know that this can be hard to put into practice, but let's do it together for the sake of one another. We can be so thankful to God for the means we have of staying connected. We can be so thankful for the St. Peter's stream. Let's make the most of these platforms and stay fit. We have not stopped being the church. We've just lost some of the means of enjoying that identity and practicing it together. Also, I think now is a great time to research and process what it means to be part of the church globally and what it means to be part of the church locally. I have in no way done this topic justice, so why not busy yourself with some reading on the topic? Some suggestions will be posted in the description of our Sunday stream.
Hi there, we are St. Petersfishhoek and we hope that you found this audio and video helpful and stimulating. If you did, please could you share it with someone you know who would also be interested in this topic. And if you have any questions, and please feel free to comment or visit our website where you can contact us directly or find our email or WhatsApp details. To find out more about why we're making these videos and what our church is about, check out the video on the right. And if you're interested in learning more about answers Jesus claims to have about the big questions of life, you should definitely check out our live series. Click the video on the left to find out more. And have a wonderful day.